Like, what was life for you growing up, and did you ever see yourself as ever becoming a pastor?
I said the last thing in the world I want to do is be a senior pastor. And at the early stages that it was really starting to take shape, I began to lose heart for it. Mm-hmm. And at that point I said, Lord, I will do whatever you want me to do. I just don't want to be a senior pastor. The tough part of loving people that you don't like. Mm-hmm. And you'll find them in every church.
Yeah.
So start there.
Yeah.
Start saying, Lord, why do they bug me so much? Mm-hmm. That I had lived in 29 different houses. I had gone to school in 13 different schools.
Wow. So for all those years, you're pouring into others, helping others, you're pouring into their cups, mm-hmm. helping with what they need. But when it comes to you, how do you personally keep your own soul replenished? How do you go about that? Welcome back to Arise and Shine. Today we're here with Pastor Kevin Rogers, the founding pastor of New Song Church here in Windsor. For over 30 years, Pastor Kevin has served the marginalized, leading with creativity and helping those in need with compassion and faith. He is also the host of the Sidewalk Skyline podcast and the voice for urban ministry in Canada. So we're just going to get into it. Pastor Kevin, many people know you as the founder of New Song Church. They know you as, the pastor. But who is Pastor Kevin outside of the pulpit? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what are your hobbies? Who are you outside of the pulpit?
Well, I'm husband to Marcia. We've been together 36 years. Wow. 3 adult children, 6 grandchildren. And most of my life outside of ministry work is with family, and the grandkids are getting a lot of time out of us right now. I also work part-time with a Pentecostal agency called Mission Canada. Mm-hmm. And our focus with Mission Canada is to find people that want to be a missionary to Canada, from Canada to Canada, but reaching into the areas where the church is perhaps not as well connected. So my role with Mission Canada is to look at urban centers, big cities in Canada, and sometimes with a lot of churches, there's a shortage of God's people in the core of major cities. Churches often tend to be more in the suburbs and outward from there. Mm-hmm. So who am I outside of? I try to mix it all together and be myself, whether it's with the grandkids or at home or involved in ministry. My wife and I, we like to watch our Prime or Netflix and work our way through series and work on the house. We love old houses, and we live in a century-old home. So, that's where I go when I'm not working.
That's good. Do you have any maybe Netflix suggestions on series that you would recommend to those that are watching, maybe? Are there any good series maybe that you would recommend?
Well, yeah, we don't, our tastes are not necessarily all that spiritual, but right now we're on Prime, working our way through the latest season of Tulsa King. Okay. And, we love, kind of fast-moving action thriller kind of, murder murder mysteries and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any other hobbies besides watching movies and other things that you like to do?
It's I would say it's part hobby, part work. But if I weren't working, it would definitely be my prime hobby, and that is I love music, and I love to write and perform, and that's while that's a part of ministry, it's probably the one part that feels the least amount like work, because I just love it so much.
Yeah. I see there's so much to Pastor Kevin outside of the pulpit.
Yeah.
There's so much, and that's good. Also, did you ever, what was life for you growing up, and did you ever see yourself as ever becoming a pastor?
I said the last thing in the world I want to do is be a senior pastor. I did say that.
Yeah.
I grew up in a pastor's home, and both my parents are still alive and retired. And so growing up with Dad as a pastor, my mom being involved in music at the church, I had the bird's eye view all the way, and from a young age, I knew I wanted to follow Jesus. That was not really ever a big question for me. During childhood, I just knew I love the Lord, and I'm going to serve Him. But as I grew up, and that passion for music started to emerge, and I began to write songs and play in bands, so when I finished high school, I was of the opinion that I never wanted to go back to school again. So I worked for a little bit, and then ended up going to Bible college, and also to a community college, and so did 5 years of post-secondary, and during that time, I really had become ambitious about pursuing music as a vocation, and but God was up to something else. When I was in Bible college after my second year, I kind of hit the wall with a faith crisis. I began to do what a lot of people do, and that is deconstruct and say, well, how do I know it's true? Why was I taught this? What's the real truth? And had a lot of questions and doubts, and I was in Bible college of all places, where it would have been easy to just, okay, well, here's the answers, right?
Exactly.
But I would say probably just a little bit disillusioned, a little bit uncertain, and having to wrestle with my own faith, my own relationship with the Lord. And so after 2 years, I thought, it's crazy. I'm not ever going to be a pastor. I'm not looking to work in a church. So why am I here? So I left and went to another community college in Belleville, Loyalist College. I was in Peterborough at the time, and I went to Belleville, studied broadcasting, testing 1, 2. And during that time that I was in community college, I was still pursuing this life in music that I wanted with everything to do. And opportunities were opening, playing with my band, and we were starting to look at the possibility of a tour into the States. And so it was all starting to get real. It's one thing when it's in your head and you think, I want it, but it was starting to get real. And at the early stages that it was really starting to take shape, I began to lose heart for it. It was like, I want to do this life of music, but I'm not sure if that's meaningful enough. I'm not sure if that's all that I'm about. And the Lord was working on my heart. I remember one day I woke up and just it was like one of those light bulb moments. And I woke up, and the first thought in my mind was, I believe. I trust God. And it was just like this awakening of faith. And in retrospect, as I looked back at that time when something shifted, I realized that the doubts I was experiencing, the desire to deconstruct and look at other things, and that it wasn't really about the data. It wasn't really about the truth of Scripture, the history of the faith. It wasn't about the reality of God, even though those were the things I was questioning. What it really was about was, if it's all true, do I really want to believe and trust God?
Yeah.
And if it's not true, can I even let it go? And I realized that it wasn't about the data, it was about me.
Yeah.
And it was about, did I have within me the desire to believe and trust God? So that faith awakening. And then through some miraculous circumstances, I went back and finished Bible college. And at that point I said, Lord, I will do whatever you want me to do. I just don't want to be a senior pastor. I wouldn't mind working with youth.
Yeah.
And if the day ever comes, I'd love the opportunity to work in a church with my dad. And I gave that to the Lord and graduated. Went to be a youth pastor in a little church outside Ottawa. I was their very first youth pastor in this little outskirts church, and was there for a while. And then I went to Markham, became the first youth pastor that church had. And then the third church was an invitation to come work with my dad.
Wow.
So the Lord was... He respected my boundaries, and so I went to work with my dad, and it was there in that third church north of London that I met my wife, that we got married, that we began to have our family, and then my mom moved away, and I was still at that church, and the new pastor came. I worked with him for a couple of years, and it was during that time that God started to stir my heart to plant a church.
Yes.
See, there's a loophole. I didn't want to be a senior pastor, but maybe I could be a church planter.
Yeah.
And all these years later, what I really realized is that I didn't want to inherit somebody else's legacy or somebody else's problems.
Yeah.
I wanted to create my own problems. If I was going to pastor, I wanted to do it from scratch.
Yeah.
And all these years later, I realized that actually it was a missionary calling. God had called me to be a missionary to Windsor. And so that dramatically affected the shape of how we began and how we set out to do church together.
Wow. It's a lot that goes on. Really what touches me, it was really about trusting God in that entire process.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what was going to happen next. And that often happens to us in our lives, where we're going through something and we're wrestling with thoughts. We're wondering, God, should I do this? Should I not do this? But it's really about just letting go and trusting God and knowing that He has a bigger picture. Because when we look in the Bible and we see all the people that God has called, they're never they never accept it at first. They're like, me, God, when we look at
Yeah.
Moses like, I can't talk. I can't
Yeah.
do this. So God, the people that he calls,
Yeah.
the people that he calls, they're never qualified, but God is the one that qualifies them. So in
Yeah.
your story and everything that you've been through and the wrestling, before that even happened, God had already qualified you to do what you were called to do. And it just lines up. And the picture that God has for our lives, sometimes we don't understand it, but then we get to a point where we look back and we're like, oh, that's what he was doing all along. And it teaches us to appreciate and to trust him even more and know that he has our best interests, like Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you. So hearing your story and how it wasn't just easy, but it had those valleys, it had those mountains, it had those moments of wrestling with God. It shows us the rawness and the realness of, walking with God and doing what God has called us to do.
He's the best kind of father that we could ever have.
Yeah.
Like he knew the desires of my heart. I kind of suspect that he embedded those desires in my heart.
Yeah.
And so to know that God didn't kidnap me and force me to do anything.
Yeah.
God prepared my heart, prepared my mind, put giftings inside me that I didn't even know were there. They had to grow and be developed, and he put them there. And so that whole thing about wanting to do music was, I believe that was also put there by him. And it has been such an integrated part of a life in ministry. I continue to lead worship. I continue to get opportunities to go out and perform, and I continue to write songs and play guitar, and it's that high passion is integrated into a life of ministry. It's not the only thing. It just happens to be the part I probably enjoy the most.
Yeah. So as a pastor, you've been pouring into people for so long, for over 30 years. From the podcast, I heard was it 40 years that you've been in ministry?
1985 was my first youth pastorate. So we got 40 years in ministry, and 32 years ago, September 1993, my wife and I, our 2-year-old daughter Carly, and our 6-week-old son Jesse, moved to Windsor, and we were renting an old farmhouse out near Paquette Corners, outside the city. Lord did a lot of miracles to get us here, and so the story started. And 32 years now that we've been focused on New Song Church.
Wow! So for all those years, you're pouring into others, helping others. You're pouring into their cups, helping with what they need, but when it comes to you, how do you personally keep your own soul replenished? How do you go about that?
Yeah, that's a part of the journey that some seasons are easier than others. Sometimes I have had, I'll tell you the truth, been fighting a cold this week, and just a lot of long days. Today, before I came here, I was meeting with 6 people that are, a membership class, and then coming here, and then heading back to the church to get ready for tonight. We have a Saturday night service as well, and so this is one of those weeks when I really feel the energy zapped. And but what I've learned is that I just need to keep practicing Sabbath. So tomorrow afternoon, Sunday afternoon after church, until I go back in the office on Tuesday, I'm going to just do the things that are restful. That's one way, is being consistent with my days off.
Yeah.
But also flexible, because sometimes your life gets dictated to you. But I would say that's how I get my energy back.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty chill person, and people will tell me that. People also call me the crazy whisperer, because if somebody is really in a strange mental state, I know how to approach them, how to de-escalate, and I give the gift of chill. So that I think if you think about the tortoise and the hare, that story, I'm the turtle. I just keep plodding along, and the energy, physical energy, needs to be replenished. So I try to eat well. I try to rest. Every couple years, I say, I got to go back to the gym, and I'm getting to that stage again where I got to go back. But do what I can to keep myself healthy. But that's just part of the picture. The real peace of God, the processing of God in me, that has to come, one, through my own relationship. When I get up in the morning, pretty consistently, I start my day opening the scriptures and journaling with that, and a short prayer, and I'm out and I'm on. That's so important. The other piece is surrounding myself with a lot of other people that have a real servant's heart. So I don't have an unrealistic expectation that, well, I'm the man in charge and I got to take care of everything. That's actually impossible for me to take care of everything. But what I can do is I can invest in the people around me and equip them and release them to do great things. And so there's this, there's also this, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm doing this alone. I feel like that I'm part of a team, and we're doing this together. And it's amazing how peace-giving and energizing that is when it's not all up to you. And again, the good Father, he knew that I needed to stop being a loner, and I needed to learn how to live in community.
Community is important. I like how you talked about rest, because we live in a society where we're always on go mode, and there's burnout, and we're always trying to work. We don't have time to rest. But God wants us to rest. When he did everything and he created everything, there was a day for rest. So it's really important when we're in the hustle and bustle of life that we take time to rest. And rest can mean different things. It can literally mean rest, like take a nap, or it can be
I'm a good napper, yes.
Which is also good.
And this couch is really comfortable, so.
It can look like many things. Unplugging from your phone for the day. Rest can mean so many different things for people, but it's really important, especially when you're pouring out so much of yourself and helping others. So thank you for that. We're going to switch gears just a little bit, because I feel like we've been going so deep. You've been giving us so much knowledge, so much nuggets, and really getting to the root core of who you are and your experiences. And I just wanted to ask if you can tell us the top 3 happiest moments of your life, where you look back and you're like, no, this was a really happy moment for me in my life. Just 3.
Okay, so 3 happy moments. The best moments are in the presence of God, but to bring that presence into experiences, the day, actually it's the night, the rainy night in December, that Marcia said, yes, I will marry you. Deliriously happy. the second happy joy moment would be when Carly, our firstborn, was born, and I was with Marcia and got to hold this beautiful little baby girl and cut the cord and all that. Those two things were transfixing, and the third happiest. I'm just going to leave number 3 open. I've had a lot of joyful experiences, but I'm going to leave number 3 open because I believe that God might still want to surprise me with something I wasn't expecting.
There's room for more.
There's room for more. Yeah.
That's good. And how can ordinary believers, whether it's students, whether it's people that are going to work, parents, how can they rise and shine in their everyday lives and not just at church? What would you tell them?
Yeah. So, rise and shine. Rising is resurrection. So in order for us to live a resurrected life, we first have to have a life that dies. And so any way that someone is looking at their life right now and feeling like they're dying, bring that to God and let Jesus give you a proper burial. The dying to self it's the only way I know that we can begin to see what God sees, and to have a vision that exceeds our own. The example I gave of I love music. I want to be a rock star.
Yeah.
That had to actually die so that I could be reborn. So arise, it has to do with resurrection, and shining is very much about reflection. Jesus says, "You're the light of the world," but there's only so much of our human goodness that can shine. We're a little bit of a dim light. But when we reflect the light of God, when people see the work of God in us, when our testimony tells His story, that's when your light is released. So get connected. A lot of people think, I got to find the right church, and there probably is a church that fits you best, and you need to make sure you're in that church that fits you best. And then the starting point of growing in God, growing in that reflection is the tough part of loving people that you don't like. And you'll find them in every church. So start there. Start saying, Lord, why do they bug me so much? Not it's easy. We're quick judges. I know why I don't like them. But actually, Lord, why? Why do I not like them? What is it in me that's so reactive to them? And then, so I always think that our best place to start growing from is the family of God, and because if you are a Christian and you belong to a church where you get past the surface, you'll have challenges, conflicts. You'll have at the same time, you'll get to witness so much of God's glory unfolding that you'll be in constant amazement as you watch things happening to others that growing closer to Him.
So what advice would you give to younger Pastor Kevin Rogers?
One of the things that I made a brief mention of was this idea of a loner learning about community. And when I was young, growing up in a pastor's home, we moved on average every 3 to 4 years, sometimes in the middle of a school year. So we'd move to another town or another city in Ontario. And sometimes while we were there, renting apartments or houses, sometimes even being in a community for 2 or 3 years, but then living in a couple different places in that community. So by the time I graduated from college, I think my count was that I had lived in 29 different houses. I had gone to school in 13 different schools. And so the root system for me was my immediate family, whatever church we were in, and whatever friends I made along the way that I kept after we moved. Mm-hmm. So that was my root system, but that's a lot different than, being embedded into a community where, you grow up playing Little League and or on teams. And our life was always on the move. So for younger Kevin, that was ingrained, and it also made it so that I had a bit of a loner mentality. Being a loner at different times in pop history can be a cool thing, right? To be a loner. But to really step into being a pastor, I had to grow out of that. I had to learn what it means to commit, to belong, to know that I'm going to be here longer than you are. Mm-hmm. And so for me, being a pastor at New Song Church for over 30 years, there have been 2 or 3 times that I've had the inclination and thought, should I move on? Is this season done? Mm-hmm. But the Lord has always refreshed and revised and kept me in place. Mm-hmm. And there are things that I could not understand about community, things I could not see about myself, things that would not come to fruition without that long faithfulness in the same direction. Mm-hmm. So younger Kevin, don't be in a hurry to step up to something else or to keep moving and advancing. Learn what it is to put roots down.
Those are very good pieces of advice and encouragement for anyone that's struggling with rising and shining. So thank you so much, Pastor Kevin. We're running short on time. The conversation was good. We could have kept going, but that is all that we have for today. Thank you so much, Pastor Kevin, for coming on the podcast, for all the knowledge that you've given to us and the viewers, for the encouragement, for the insight on who you are, for showing us how we need to trust God, how we need to find time to rest, and how we need to rise and shine. So thank you so much, Pastor Kevin.
You're very welcome, and I feel very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you.